All right, look, I know exactly what this looks like, right? Another guru, I'm sitting here in Edward's first class, drinking his Dom Perignon. I'm telling you about how he made millions of dollars on the internet and how easy it is and that you should go buy his course. I get it. I become the cliche that I've hated the most. But hear me out. Okay, I understand this is super douchey. I just want to use this as a fun opportunity to talk about the boring business I got myself into a decade ago. This business has absolutely not only transformed my life, but in the last 3 years, I'm also coached 2,200 students, and they've had incredible success. And there's a lot of things we do different from other programs. Most people think making money online needs to be like kind of like this complicated thing, right? Crypto trading, AI automation, drop shipping from China. The reality is, businesses, to me, it's about keeping things simple, and it's about, can you generate revenue for someone, right? Because the reality is, most things in life are wants, right? Like this, like right here, is a want. I can promise you, if there was some type of recession or hardship, this is the first thing that people are going to cut out of their lives, right? Like if you're doing extravagant things, if you're buying knickknacks and buying crap off Amazon, that's the first thing that you're going to cut out when you're unemployed, you lose your job, you lose your income, things are tight, right? So one thing I realized, because my parents lost all their money or most of their money in the 2008 recession, and that affected me. I was 14 at the time. I was living in California. I was born and raised in California, and in fact, my parents lost so much money and then got laid off, so they had no income and no money because all their stock investments went down. We had to move from California to India, right? And my parents and myself are U.S. citizens. We've lived there for, my parents have lived there for 30 plus years, own a home and all of that. We had to give all that up to go move to, a third world country, right? Like I'm not trying to diss on India, but that was a very, very hard experience for me. And that's when I realized, my parents were they did all the right things. They went to school. My mom got a PhD. She got her postdoc at Caltech, one of the best schools in the world. And that still didn't make her immune to being laid off and broke, even with 20 years of work experience, with a PhD and going to one of the best schools in the world. So the reality is simply this, right? What I do is I build simple little ugly websites, drag and drop, and obviously there's a lot of cool things you can do with AI. You got to be careful. We'll get into that in a second. But I built these little ugly drag and drop websites, and then I pick a niche. So think about like on Google, right? Let's say someone's typing in the word weight loss, and it shows the search results are weight loss. But weight loss is what we call a national search term, right? So when you're typing in weight loss, it's showing results from all across America, or whatever country you're searching in. What I want to do is I want to take it down even to a tiny area, right? So like, let's take Foster City, California, right? Or Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or Gilbert, Arizona. I want to take a tiny city, and then I want to go even in that city, even this, like kind of zoom in more, and then rank for a little niche. So think about like tree service, Gilbert, Arizona. I'm just making some of these up. These aren't necessarily my clients. But like tree service, Gilbert, Arizona, or like roofing in Prosper, Texas, right? And then what I'm going to do is, I already know there's a process where we look at the research of what are the business owners there, what's the competition on the web, right? Does anyone have a strong website, a good presence that gets them on the top of Google or not? And if we see an opportunity where, man, we see that 2,000 people a month, let's say in Prosper, Texas, are searching for tree service, but yet there's not even one good tree service I always see are these little like directory sites like Yelp or Angie's List or things like that, showing that there's no actual direct business owner with a web presence there. What we can do is I go and build the site myself. I buy the domain, like the www dot. So let's say treeserviceprospertexas.com. And I go build a website and I do a whole process. We can get into it. To get it on the top of search and the top of things like ChatGPT, top of Gemini, all these AI tools as well. We teach you how to rank for that. But here's the little twist. I own and control the website. I own and control the domain. How I get paid is I sell the data, the leads, the customers off the website. So that phone number that's on the website, it's actually a tracking number. Think like a Google Voice number. But you basically put that tracking number in, and then anytime someone calls the phone, it forwards to an actual tree service company in the area, right? So if you go find a real tree service company that services Prosper, Texas, so let's just make up a name. Let's say it's called, Rick's Tree Service. And basically we send them some free leads. We just give some free value. We go, hey, Rick, I know this is like a weird thing to say, but basically I have this website. It gets a bunch of tree care customers to prosper. Is okay if I just send you the calls for free for a little bit and just let's just see if you even make any business out of it. So you give them a free trial, right? It's very similar to Costco. I don't know, depending on where you're watching this, if you live in America or not. In US, Costco is basically this big chain store where you buy in bulk. But one of the things Costco does that's very brilliant is they give you a lot of free samples of food. So like, let's say they're showing off some A5 Wagyu steak that's like $300. They'll give you a little piece of it and you try it and it's really good. And you went to Costco, the grocery store, just to buy some milk, eggs, and cheese. But because you got a taste and you got to try the product, you now check out of Costco with like a $400, $500 bill, a bunch of crap you never thought you were going to buy in the first place, right? And that's the same premise here, which is if you can give a small business owner, like a plumber, a roofer, tree service, towing, if you can give them some customers for free and put money in their pocket for free, that's going to build a level of trust and bond that's going to give you a long-term relationship. I have clients that have been paying me monthly, like business owners that have paying me monthly for going on 8-9 years now. And I'm talking in 8-9 years, I've maybe talked to them twice. And usually the second time I talk to them is just when their card declines because the card expired, right? Because cards usually expired in like 3 to 4 years, right? Like I think my Amex expires in 2029. Look, this business is not perfect, so I'm not sitting here trying to paint this utopia to you. Obviously, I have lost business owners, right? Sometimes you end up in these weird situations where you have a site generating leads, but you just can't find the right fit. So sometimes you do this work and you can't find the right business owner to partner with. But I'm telling you, it's incredible because think about it. What does a one site cost? Just some web hosting, that domain name, the www. Whatever, tree service, prospertexas.com. And some little other things. We'll talk about things like backlinking, citations, some other processes, how to get it ranked.ai. But these things are like $10 here, $20 there, right? It's very cheap. It's about $30 a month in hard cost. So even if I built 5 websites doing this process, and even if only one of them lands a client, the average client, by the way, pays anywhere from $600 a month to $2,000. I have clients that even pay me $4,000 or $5,000 a month, right? It just depends on how much money and revenue you're generating the business owner. But imagine, even if one out of your 5 sites makes money, if you're getting paid $600 a month from one site and you have 5 sites that are not, well, that's only $150 a month in expense, but you have $500 or $600 a month coming in. You're incredibly profitable, and it's reoccurring passive where you're not trading time for dollars. And that's the real secret, right? The real, I hate to use the buzzword secret, right? But like the real thing here is that if you just work really hard, even if you're a doctor, by the way, most students in my program are white collar engineers, doctors, lawyers, things like that. People who join my coaching program a lot of them have really good jobs making 6 figures a year already, right? In their day jobs. But what's the problem? Even if you're a neurosurgeon making $600,000 a year, and I have students like that in my program, if they get injured, if they stop working, all that money disappears. If they get in a malpractice issue, right? They botch up a surgery, they lose all that income, right? So they actually aren't financially free. And I know that's hard I know when I was struggling, not making a lot of money, I used to think, I don't get it. How can someone at $600,000 a year still be scared? Well, even people who make a lot of money, they have mortgages, they have kids, they have a lifestyle. They want to live in a better neighborhood. They want to live in a better house. And so they have all these commitments financially. It's not just about how much money you make. It's about a leverage and a system and a process to make that money work for you. And even though it takes work to get to a point where you build this big passive book of business, and I'm not going to lie to you, in the beginning, there's some work and things you got to do, especially with AI now. It's so exciting. There's so much of this you can automate, but you got to be really careful because a lot of the AI stuff, there's a lot of garbage in this AI world, and there's a lot of stuff that's true. And a lot of people are telling you misinformation of what to do, what not to do. Remember, Google is not stupid. Okay, I have no loyalty to Google. It's just a way for me to make reoccurring passive or leveraged income. But Google is not a stupid company. And in fact, what's really cool is we get to see this. If you're watching this video right now, Google Gemini is the best AI. And what does Google Gemini own? Well, they own Google Search. So we have the best strategies. I've been using this Google Search I've been ranking on it for a decade. So I really think here, I'm going to show you some of my case studies. We're probably going to jump cut this. All I ask is watching the videos on this page. We're really straightforward too. We just charge one-time, lifetime access, no gimmicks, no fluff. One of the reasons why people also struggle in businesses like dropshipping or crypto is not actually it's not even that you can't make money in those, is that a lot of people, especially if you grew up middle class like I did, right? And I grew up like lower middle class and then kind of middle class towards, later on when I was like, 17, 18. One of the things that you get instilled in you with a middle class mindset, kind of an average worker's mindset, if you went to university or college, this was instilled to you at the college level, is that you want to feel good about the money you're making. And the problem with selling all this crap on like this little drop shipping stuff where you sell little knickknacks, you go buy it from China, you go sell it on Amazon at a markup, is that you don't really feel good about what you're doing. You're just taking something that you bought for 50 cents and selling it for a few bucks. You're not adding that much value. And to me, the whole dropshipping Amazon thing, for example, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever been to like an amusement park, like a Disneyland or Six Flags or something, or Universal Studios, and you go in there and they literally like, just to buy a water bottle is like $9, right? Because they know you're in the park. You don't want to leave the park and you're thirsty, you're dehydrated. So this water bottle that really should cost you $1 is now going to be $9 and screw you. What are you going to do about it? Do you feel good about paying $9 for the water that should be $1? No, of course you don't, right? And that's what I feel about a lot of these business models like drop shipping or e-commerce. I'm never going to disrespect, people need to make a living and you got to do what business works for you. But one of the coolest things about this business is you're literally helping small business owners put money in their pocket. You're being a revenue generator. You're the bill that pays the other bills. And so it's so unlike other things out there because you're actually adding value. And to go back to what I talked about in 2008 when my parents lost all their money, what was the hard part about the recession is that people are going to cut out all their kind of extravagant purchases, right? All the, like this. I will promise you that if there's some really bad event, like during COVID, right? People aren't like what did people do? They can't fly, they can't leave. But what are they not going to do? They're not going to cut off the source of their revenue. They're not going to cut off the person that's putting money in their pocket. So hopefully that makes sense. You want to be a revenue generator. And that's how these small business owners feel, is that if they are paying you $1,000 a month and they know you're making them $5,000 or $6,000 a month in revenue, and maybe they're profiting $2,000 or $3,000 a month, so that $1,000 they're paying you turns into $3,000 a month in their pocket, they will do that math all day long, forever and ever and ever. And here's the best part. Businesses are already designed and kind of ingrained to spend money on advertising. Right? They're already spending money on things like Google ads that are insanely expensive. They're spending money on Facebook ads. They're spending money on Yelp, Thumbtack, Angie's List. I'm going to show you a lot more. I just wanted to do this little fun cut because there's a lot more to life. If they're able to be present with their kids, be present, be able to travel. Location freedom is incredible in this business. So keep reading or click the link or whatever you got to do. But the reality is, I think this is the greatest business in the world. So check out the rest of the page, check out the videos, and we'll see y'all.